well, could the spiritual side of this be important as they believe it is?
Schwartz wants to determine what, if any, changes are taking place in the brain as Hall attempts to jam an ice pick through his cheek. But first, they need a measurement from a controversial device known as a gas discharge visualization instrument, or GDV.
The GDV system picks up electrical activity around the fingertips, and then using sophisticated computer algorithms actually presents a whole body image of the different regions, energy regions around the body.
GDV technology has its roots in a controversial process discovered over 75 years ago called Kirlian photography. In 1939, Semyon Kirlian found that if an object on a photographic plate is subjected to a high-voltage, high-frequency electrical field, an image is formed on the plate that resembles a halo. Some believe that this halo is a physical manifestation of the spiritual aura which supposedly surrounds us all. Scientists believe the halo is usually moisture. The effect is known as a corona discharge. Using the GDV, Schwartz is looking for evidence to show if Hall's personal energy field or aura changes as he injures himself with the ice pick. But first, they need to take a baseline reading. Now it's time for the test to begin. Hall is wired up to an electroencephalogram machine, or EEG, a device that graphically records the electrical activity of the brain.
When I do the piercing, I'm asking for specific aid for this intervention from the ancestors and the current sheikh.
In order to obtain this permission from the sheikh, Hall goes into a meditative state and says a series of mantras over and over again. The meditation period lasts nearly 90 minutes.
His brain did in fact go into a more relaxed state over the course of the prayer. We didn't see any anomalous things. He wasn't going into seizures, he wasn't going into a deep sleep state, he wasn't in a hyper-aroused state. His brain looked relatively normal.
He says that what we're about to record is the actual transfer of energy between the Sufi spiritual leader and himself. So does he feel any pain?
See, you can open your eyes if you'd like.
No, it's just a dull ache. There was no physiological pain.
So what you'll do is you'll take it out and then you'll close your eyes and just relax, okay?
I'll just check.
You ready? Yeah, we're ready.
I'll make sure I got the right place.
Okay. Yep.
Now, will the wound heal as quickly as promised?
No blood?
And I'm going to lunch after this, guys.
Yeah, that's good. By the way, there's no blood on the
Droplets of blood continue to trickle out.
as far as I can tell. There's some blood.
It's usually a couple drops that come out. That's about the timing.
But after just a few minutes, Dr. Schwartz takes a closer look at the wound.
And it is, I can't even tell where it is. I mean, it's not obvious. A whole bunch of dots.
Was this result really caused by Sufi energy healing? Now the team looks to the GDV to see if Hall's aura was affected.
What this shows, which is the first time ever, is that if we compare the pre versus the post, we're seeing with the GDV a selective decrease in energy, curiously in the area where the actual skewer was placed through the jaw. You saw this gaping hole in the energy field in the area of the jaw, which was frankly much greater than I would have initially anticipated. Showing up in terms.
Does the GDV show that a spiritual power intervened and protected Dr. Hall as claimed? Or is there a simple explanation?
Yes, I think it's possible that there is a simple explanation, but the simple explanation is one that Western scientists have difficulty with. The simple explanation is that this is actually coming from permission from divinity, that it really is involving a spiritual component, and that that component is very, quote, simple.
We have a name for that which looks superficially like science, that uses scientific gadgetry, scientific jargon, but is fundamentally not science. It's called pseudoscience.
We'll be taking a much closer look at the rather mysterious GDV device later on. But first, let's meet a person who tortures himself not for spiritual purposes, but for money, and without the help of mystical energies. Meet Tim Cridland, aka Zamora, the Torture King. He performs a regular Las Vegas stage show where he inserts sharp instruments through his body, and he too claims to suffer no pain. But here, the similarities with the Sufis end. Cridland makes no claim to be doing anything supernatural.
It's the real thing. There's no trickery in it. There's a very thin margin of error. If I lose focus or concentration, I can get hurt very severely.
Does he not feel any pain, or does he just have an incredible tolerance for torture?
No blood, no pain, ladies and gentlemen. That is mind over matter.
We wanted to measure Cridland's abilities, so we went to see Dr. Joshua Prager, an anesthesiologist at the UCLA School of Medicine and a noted expert on the mechanism of pain. Using a device that delivers a low-voltage electric sensation, he'll determine what Cridland's pain tolerance really is.
Now we're going to change the frequency.
Most people score in the 4 to 6 range. Cridland's first attempt is a 20.
Your score basically puts you in outer space compared to the rest of the population.
And after one practice round, Cridland scores an off-the-scale 27. Dr. Prager believes that by using meditation and self-hypnosis, Tim has somehow learned to block pain signals from being processed by the brain at a nerve path called the descending pathway.
Okay, ready? Go. Well, I theorize that he activates the descending pathway, whether it be through some sort of self-hypnosis or some way of creating disattention. Clearly, he is able to change something in his nervous system so that he can tolerate more pain.
So if Tim Cridland can tolerate pain by using meditation or self-hypnosis, could this be what's allowing Dr. Hall and the Sufi dervishes to not feel pain? Perhaps, but does this also explain the Sufi claims to be able to heal extraordinarily quickly? We went to Dr. Joseph Molnar for an answer. Molnar is a reconstructive surgeon who has operated on thousands of wound-related injuries. He thinks that the rapid healing has more to do with where the Sufis choose to wound themselves than with any spiritual power.
Many of the wounds that were created were put in places that are relatively silent. The man that put his sword through the chest looked to me that he was putting it through the skin and fat of his chest. We actually do something very similar in plastic surgery if we do liposuction of the chest.
But what about the wound created when Dr. Hall drove an ice pick through his cheek? There was very little blood, and the wound appeared to heal in minutes.
I'm not necessarily surprised with the amount of bleeding that I saw in that particular case. Anyone who's ever donated blood knows that you get some bleeding for a few minutes. If you hold pressure, it stops. Puncture wounds are relatively benign. It's not like you took anything out and then it filled in 2 hours. It was all there. It just had to close over a little bit and fall back into place. And that's what you expect with a puncture wound. I personally saw nothing that demonstrated anything that was clearly supernatural in the healing process.
But what about the GDV results that supposedly showed a decrease in energy in Dr. Howard Hall's aura? Does this really measure some mysterious energy in all living things? Is the aura the same thing as chi? And can some people really use chi to knock others out without even touching them?
Tuesday on Seconds from Disaster, a tourist ferry capsizes. Hundreds of passengers and crew plunge into icy waters. Reconstruct the critical events that sank the ship. Uncover how one simple step could have prevented this tragic accident. Seconds from Disaster, Tuesday at 9 on the National Geographic Channel.
Visa Signature, more than just a rewards card. It can magically turn all sorts of wishes into reality.
Give me a kiss to build a dream on.
Like getting you into practically impossible to get into restaurants at exclusively reserved tables. And since Visa Signature has no preset spending limit and is accepted at millions more places worldwide than American Express, it's everything you need to make your wishes come true.
Nice play.
With Visa Signature, rewards are just the beginning.
Another new drink. Ingredients: inositol, maltodextrin, glucuronolactone, or Florida orange juice. Fresh air, rain, sunshine.
Florida orange juice. Healthy, pure and simple.
Ow. Ouch, Dave. I'd fix myself, but I am a wall.
You let it dry, sand it, paint it. Tour stop.
What's that? Nothing.
Ace, the helpful place.
A symptom checker that allows people to isolate the warning signs of an illness and understand what they mean. Assessment tools that summarize risks and treatment options to discuss with their physicians. Just some of the features that make WebMD America's most trusted and most visited health site. Recommended by more physicians and relied on by more than 20 million Americans every month. WebMD, America's health site.
Thanks, sweetie. Delicious rice in 90 seconds. Ready Rice. Bring more to the table with Uncle Ben's.
Introducing the new Pedigree Slide Right zipper bag. Keeps every bite as fresh as the first.
Next on Naked Science. Thousands of miles below, it's a place of unimaginable heat and pressure. But now, new science reveals frightening facts about the future of our planet. Dare to explore the Earth's core on Naked Science. Next on the National Geographic Channel.
If you're significantly overweight, you've probably seen this commercial.
When is a diet pill worth $153 a bottle? When you're more than 20 pounds overweight and every diet plan has failed. Now there's Leptoprin.
She's right, but you don't have to pay $153 a bottle to experience significant weight loss. Generics Labs has obtained the exclusive rights to manufacture Leptopril, the same powerful Leptoprin SD formula, the same strength, the same amazing weight loss, but for less than half the price. So if you're significantly overweight, you can get the weight loss you want at a price you can finally afford. Leptopril from Generics Labs.
Finally, significant weight loss at an affordable price. Order Leptopril risk-free. Call 1-800-557-1358. That's 1-800-557-1358. Order Leptopril now. Call 1-800-557-1358. That's 1-800-557-1358.
Milan, home to Italy's stock market and business centers, and its fashion and shopping capital. It's also home to two of the world's most famous skeptics, chemist Luigi Garlascelli and psychologist Massimo Polidoro. Massimo writes prolifically on all kinds of supernatural phenomena. Luigi is the hands-on type. He'll subject himself to almost anything to make a skeptical point.
I think it is important for scientists to investigate strange claims because it is the job of science to discover what still is unknown, and it is what scientists do all the time.
I don't think it is possible for a person to transfer his or her energy to another person. If it really happens, then it should be investigated with the instrument of science.
Massimo and Luigi are quite familiar with the GDV device used to test Dr. Hall's aura while he pierced his cheek. In fact, they've built their own version. Like the GDV, it's based on Kirlian photography, but it exposes a few problems with GDV as a tool to measure life energy.
In this device, we have a high-frequency generator and a high-voltage generator.
Together, they produce a low-intensity electric charge that's safe to human touch.
In it,
It's also equipped with tanks of helium and neon gas that are pumped to a sealed chamber under the surface plate of the machine. When an object is placed on the plate, the electrical charge excites the gas molecules, causing them to glow and creating what looks like the object's energy field or aura. But if this is supposed to be a life force, like an aura or chi, why is it just as powerful in inanimate objects?
It certainly does not capture an aura or a psychic energy or whatever. This is a machine that works by itself, and whatever you put on top of it, a hand, a shoe, scissors, anything, it just shows a glowing light. But it is not a light coming from the object, it's a light coming from the machine.
So the GDV device that was supposed to measure an energy field may only be measuring natural phenomena like temperature, pressure, and humidity. Now it's time for Massimo and Luigi to turn their attention to the most hair-raising use of mystical energies we've seen so far: throwing chi to knock someone out without even touching them. Massimo reviewed the tapes of George Dillman and his followers performing such no-touch knockouts and was not impressed.
The people going there expected what was going to happen, and they were expected to react in a specific way. And they just reacted to the suggestion. When this happens in hypnotism demonstrations on stage by a magician, which doesn't use hypnosis at all, it just gives suggestions, and people who is ready to believe that kind of things reacts.
But critiquing a tape and standing up to a karate master are completely different matters. It's time for a showdown. In one corner, weighing in at no more than 125 pounds, is chemist Luigi Garlascelli. He thinks he can stand up to a knockout punch of chi because it doesn't exist. In the other corner, it's 8th degree black belt Leon J., one of George Dillman's top associates and fellow practitioner of the no-touch knockout. This ought to be interesting.
In fact, when we did the test on Luigi, who was not ready to believe these things, or maybe was just staying there, seeing what would happen. It didn't work.
Dillman thinks he knows what went wrong and has come up with a very interesting explanation.
The skeptic was a totally non-believer. Plus, I don't know if I should say that on film, but if the guy had his tongue in the wrong position of the mouth, that can also nullify it. Yeah, you can nullify it. You can nullify a lot of things done to you. In fact, you can nullify them if you raise those two big toes. If I say I'm going to knock you out, and you raise one toe and push one toe down, can't knock you out. And then if I go to try again, you reverse it. If you keep doing this, I won't knock you out.
Good to know. But there is another explanation. Perhaps chi, prana, baraka, all of the mystical energies that give mere mortals the capacity to do things that seem beyond the reach of normal humans, do so only because we believe in them. They give us the power to transcend pain and overcome physical and mental limitations because we buy into them. But even if nothing supernatural is involved here, there is a power that one has to marvel at. The power of the human mind.
Well, the skepticism can be taken too far, can be counterproductive. A little skepticism is a good thing. Too much of it really retards the progress of civilization.
There certainly is a lot of people that need these claims to be real, sticking to some kind of these beliefs that says that you are special and you just need to develop your powers to become better than the others, and whatever is important to them.
To the extent that we make people believe there are special powers that exist, we start people believing in falsehoods. And there's an ethical point there, I think, that it goes beyond entertainment then to some paranormal claim.
started with a dream that led to a philosophy, that led to a mission. Never stop learning. Never stop winning.